Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Saturday in Shawn's Riff Time Machine. Glad we're here again. This week, I want to talk to you about a criminally underrated album slash band that I feel sad. I know a lot of people have not heard this record. I think I've alluded to this before, but people are largely, as far as music goes, product of their environment. You know, you get your foundation based on what you hear around you, what your parents listen to, what your siblings listen to, your immediate friends. Of course, that's not always the case. There's people who actively disdain the music they hear from their parents, and they actively seek for other stuff. I get that. But for me, I loved the music that my parents listened to, or largely my dad, I should say. They were Beatles fans. My dad's a big classical music fan, so I heard a lot of classical music in my house when I was younger. And definitely a strong nostalgia for that. But when I think about my personal foundation, it all came from my older brother, Brad. And, you know, he's one of my heroes for way more than just this. But I am so grateful for his taste in heavy music. I remember as a kid, his CD collection, although not incredibly large, was solid, pretty well-rounded. Some of my favorite albums still to this day are because he had them and I heard them through him. And this is one of them. It's an obscure record. It's weird. But I remember being a tyke, and he got his first portable CD player for Christmas. It was a Sanyo Discman. I guess not a Discman, whatever the Sanyo equivalent would have been. And 2 records. And I'll save the other one for another time, but he got Saigon Kick's Water that Christmas. And I absolutely love that album. Saigon Kick is I guess you call them a glam band, which is unfortunate. That's where they hit their stride in the late 80s, early 90s, probably more early 90s. They definitely missed the train, and they were late to the party. And so, you know, by the time they were hitting their stride musically, that kind of music was on its way out. Grunge was coming in, and there's nothing they could do about it. Their second album, The Lizard, was their biggest album. And honestly, I have almost no feeling for that record whatsoever. There's the song Love Is On The Way is on there. It's a really good track, nice ballad. But that third record is where the magic happens for these guys. And it's really kind of interesting because they went into the studio and their vocalist left basically right as it was going on. And as a result, the guitar player, whose name is Jason Beeler, he took over. You know, he wrote all the songs. He played all the guitars, did lyrics, he did the vocals himself. And it is a huge, drastic departure from the previous album. So it's both a blessing and a curse. Blessing because it's a masterpiece, and curse because it doesn't sound anything like the last album that gave them all their success. It didn't sell very well, and within, you know, another record or two, the band was just lost to obscurity. They were dropped from their record label after Water and had to move on, seek elsewhere. And when I think about that, it's kind of a bummer because I just would have loved to know what other things these guys could have done under better circumstances. Because I don't think anything even lives up to this. This was their best work for me. It's kind of funny, too, and I don't know why Brad got this. I don't know what the drive was for him. I've never asked him about it. Because, to my knowledge, there wasn't singles from this. If there was, I don't really know what they were. There's a David Bowie cover, Space Oddities, on here. Maybe that was it, but I guess I should ask him why he wanted this album. Super grateful that he did, though. The thing that I think is just so wonderful about this is every track is different. Every track, nothing sounds the same on this CD. You skip from one song to the next, it could be a completely different band almost. There's really heavy guitar riffs. The opening track, One Step Closer, sounds like Zakk Wylde wrote it. It's super heavy. And yeah, there's a gospel choir at the end of the song Water. There's a song that's almost bossa nova on there. There's piano ballads. It's just extremely varied. And I remember latching onto that when I was little and thought it was really cool that you could have a band that was super heavy, but then could do all this other stuff too. And one of the reasons why I appreciate this is that. It's because it's varied, it's very different, and not just good tracks, right? They're not just good songs, but it's a comprehensive, beautiful piece of music. And now, you know, when I'm dabbling in amateur music myself and writing my own music, this is the approach that I've really latched onto, is that not everything has to be the same. It doesn't have to have the same, I don't know, musical style. And you don't just have to be a thrash band writing thrash riffs on thrash albums. You could do whatever you want. That's my approach these days. I want to just write music and play what feels cool at the time. Whatever the riff sounds like, that's where the song's going to go. And I definitely know that I gleaned that from this band and from this album. So I could talk about this all day. Let's move on to the riff here. This is the opening track, One Step Closer. It's tuned down a half step, and then the bottom string is dropped, so it's nice and beefy. But please go listen to this song, and go listen to the whole album. It really is worth your time. Not enough people have heard it, so let's check it out. I really love it. Go give it a listen. Listen to the whole album. It's fantastic. Cheers till next week.